pretty much. And again, that diet for me works really, really well. I tend to stick to about a 40% protein ratio
Right.
in total caloric intake. And that for me allows me to perform. It allows me to repair and recover. It allows me to do what I need to do and do what I want to do.
Right.
But that may differ for other people. We see some people need to be more around 30% protein, 30% carbs, 30% fat, give or take a few percent points.
Right.
And then we see some other people who do better with a lot less meat. They just don't have the digestive enzyme capacity to break the meat down. So although they may not be following a strictly vegetarian diet, they just don't do well with massive quantities of meat consumption in their diet. They just don't have the gut capacity to handle it.
Sure.
These are going to be more your types that say they feel better going on a vegetarian diet.
Right.
The issue there is that eating no protein whatsoever, eating no complete protein whatsoever, will catch up with you over time. Right? Initially, a person might feel better, but it generally will tend to catch up with them. Now, that doesn't mean you got to gorge on 12 ounces of steak every day either. And again, I do testing, laboratory testing in my clinic to determine how a person should eat, what a person should eat, and what a person shouldn't eat, so that we have a better individualized kind of set of rules to follow. Because beyond that, you're really just generalizing. And for some people, generalizations work well, but for many people, they don't.
Right, right. That's so sad. I was working with a former Olympian yesterday in windsurfing, and she had gone raw vegan. And I wanted nothing but to just tell her to get her out of that cycle. But sometimes people get married to those dogmas. And I just challenge them nowadays, just take note of how your body feels over time. If you feel like you're going downhill, just consider that it could be the diet. You ever see people who are married to a dogma and just won't get out of it like that?
Usually, if they're open-minded enough to be educated, they'll change.
Right.
And then you have some that are there for religious implications. So those are probably the toughest challenges to make those changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're looking at the meat, the veggies, things like that. What do you consider the healthiest foods out there for most people to eat? The most nutrient-dense foods? What are the most bang-for-the-buck foods we can use to build health, build performance, and look better naked?
Well, traditionally it would have been, I would have said vegetables.
Right.
Vegetables are the most nutrient-dense, lower calorie, higher nutrient foods. But a Harvard researcher recently made everybody have to rethink this. He actually discovered that organ meats are actually the most nutrient-dense foods. So things like liver and kidney and spleen and heart are going to be the most nutrient-dense. So if you can stomach organ meats, if it's not just totally against your mindset or your willpower to be able to consume those, and I would encourage trying to incorporate those on a regular basis.
Right. Are you talking about Matt Lalonde?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's I love that image he had of all the foods from organ meats down to vegetables and then so on. That was great. Okay, so Peter, you're a really lean, fit guy. So we've been talking about gluten like crazy, but what does the gluten-free warrior do for his workouts?
Well, I like to vary it up. I like to do something different every day.
Sure.
I'm an advocate for. I do a lot of CrossFitting. So, from Olympic weightlifting to pull-ups, push-ups, body weight exercises, sprinting, shuttle runs. I like to mix it up. So I'm very open to trying out new things.
Right.
I never. Some people look at a workout for the day and they kind of cherry pick what they want to do, what they're good at. I like to walk in there just not knowing, so that whatever they throw at me, it challenges me in new ways, so that I don't just stick to the things that I'm already good at.
Right. Do you feel that kind of plays on like a little bit of a primal nature too?
Oh yeah, because you go in never knowing what to expect, just like a day. Just imagine if you were a hunter-gatherer and you came out of your cave in the morning and you didn't know whether you were going to be running from a bear or whether you were going to be chasing down an antelope or what the day was going to hold for you. And that's that kind of sense of mystery, and then being faced with that mystery and being faced with having to achieve or do to me is exciting and fun.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about with your workouts, is keeping them exciting and fun. Well, I got a couple more questions for you, Peter, before you take off. I love digging into people's mindsets, because everybody I have on the call is wildly successful in whatever their purpose, their passion, their mission is. Obviously, yours is educating people about going gluten-free. So what did you do in your mind to get you from, like that guy who's just finding out about gluten being a potential bad thing, to making it your mission and really collecting a huge community around it?
Well, that's a great question. I told you Michael's story earlier. He was a young boy that was terminal, and after
Right.
that happened, something changed in my mind. It just really clicked. when I was initially in practice, I could see 300 to 500 new patients a year with my schedule and the time and the quality of time I spend with my patients. That's not very many people to touch, right? If you think about it, one clinic touching 300 to 500 people a year, and we live in a country with over 300 million people. Do the math, right? You're never going to reach anywhere near, and you're not even going to put a drop in the bucket. So I thought, how can I scale this? How can I get more information out there, this vital information that people need to hear and understand? And that's when I founded Gluten Free Society. And last year we reached over 1 million people. We had 1 million unique visitors to Gluten Free Society last year. So that was my goal when I initially set out creating that. I wanted to touch 1 million lives, and I wanted to do that within 5 years. We did it within 2. And so, my next goal is really to reach 100 million people. And,
there you
so
go.
What I've recently done is, of course, we're continuing with our work with Gluten Free Society, but I've actually started a training program for functional medicine doctors, because I think where I can have a big clinical impact is by training doctors to do what I do, to be able to see patients in the same fashion, in the same way. And if I can train 10,000 doctors, how many patients can I reach with 10,000 times 500 a year?
Right.
So now we're really starting to have a higher impact on the health and the quality of health in the world. So that's my mindset. I'm just driven because I want to help more people.
Right. And I see how efficient you are too, Peter. I just got to ask you this, because I know that people on the call sometimes look at guys like you, or maybe guys like me, and they say, how do these guys run successful businesses and websites and still find time to work out and have a family and everything? What's your secret to being hyper efficient?
I think priorities. I think a lot of people waste time. A lot of people watch TV. A lot of people do things that don't really promote their own personal growth, or their own growth in their family, or growth in their business. I think you have to prioritize your time. For me, I like to wake up early because that's my me time. I can get my own peace, and I can write, I can do a blog post, I can do a video. I can think about things that I need to think about. And I'm not taking away from my family. Then I can come to my clinic and I can see people all day long and have them teach me. And then I can think on, what I did with them and how I treated them. And then in the evening time, and weekends, generally I preserve just for my family. So try to spend a lot of good quality time with my family. Sometimes I travel on the weekends, but we do that if we go to speak or if we go to big seminars and things of that nature. But I think the mindset and the efficiency just has to come with a schedule. You have to shut out all the external noises that don't matter, the stuff that's not important. You can't let people be thieves of your time. People want to, I can't tell you how many times I get approached in a week to look at an Osborne product or to look at Mary Kay's cosmetics. These are all time suckers, and it's not. These people are just trying to get me to look at things because they know I have a large audience. But I just have to dictate what is the most important, is what is going to be the most efficient and effective way and use of my time, so that I have time to do the things I want to do, but also have time to do the things that I've been called to do. Right.
That's great, man. Well, this leads me to my last question. Would you take a look at my Osborne products and maybe consider? No, I'm just playing. So, okay, real last question. People are wondering about gluten-free. They're wondering about Peter Osborne. They're wondering maybe about taking a gluten-free genetic test. What's the best resources for them to go to? What information do you have out there for them to get just a ton of information about gluten-free?
Well, we have what's called the Glutenology Health Matrix, and this is a program I've designed. It's got about 40 hours of video tutorials.
Wow.
It's got a lot of expert interviews. I've talked to pretty much every major expert on gluten sensitivity and interviewed them over the last several years, and we put all that together for all of our Health Matrix members. And that's a really great resource for anybody who wants to dive into it. As far as testing is concerned, we do online testing. A person can go to our website and just click on the GF genetic testing tab at the top of the page, and they can order a kit. It comes to the house. They can swab their own cheek, and we get an answer usually within 3 to 4 weeks.
Wow.
And we typically, if they're positive, we'll send them a video that explains it and kind of tells them what they need to be doing.
Sure. Awesome, man. Well, I'll put some links below the show so people can check that stuff out. Peter Osborne, the gluten-free warrior, my man. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing those